Welcome back to the Gridiron Expert. You know, it's hard to believe. We've only got 3 weeks left of the college football regular season, and things are really starting to heat up. We may not have a lot of huge, top 25 matchups in Week 12. The biggest probably going to be that Tennessee-Georgia game, which we will be predicting for you on the channel tomorrow. But we've still got a lot of huge games up on our big board. They're going to play a massive role in these conference title races, a massive role in the college football playoff race, and maybe a few games up on this board that you might be surprised to see. So let's go ahead and dive into it. Welcome back, guys. Week 12 predictions starting here at the Gridiron Expert. As always, please continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and check out everything down in the description below. That includes our website, thegridironexpert.com, home of those expert picks if you want the spread picks for these games here and countless others, and our holiday special that is already up now, which is just all of the bowl games and NFL playoff games. Go sign up. Check it out. The link and all the details down in the description below over on thegridironexpert.com. We'd love for you to sign up with us. Win big with us today, especially as we get into the postseason. So let's dive into it. First game up here might be the biggest shock for you to see on our big board. We've got midweek action tonight. Tonight on this game, Tuesday, Western Michigan at Bowling Green. And look, I'm not always the biggest fan of doing some of these games on a Tuesday or Wednesday because by the time you watch this video, maybe on Wednesday or Thursday, the game's already over. But we still want to talk about it. This game is severely underrated, and it's going to be one of the best midweek action games of maybe the year. Western Michigan at Bowling Green. Why is it a big game? Well, there are 4 teams tied for first place in the MAC right now. All of them at 4-1 in conference play. Western Michigan and Bowling Green are 2 of them, make up half of them. So this is a massive game when it comes to the conference championship race. Both teams 4-1 in conference play, 5-4 overall, and it's a clash of style. You've got a Western Michigan team that's really, really good offensively, 53rd overall, averaging over 400 yards per game, over 209 rushing yards per game, going up against just a mediocre Bowling Green defense. The Bowling Green offense is mediocre as well, but much more balanced, I would say, than that of Western Michigan. And the Broncos defense is horrible. 117th overall, allowing over 428 yards per game. Both these teams run the ball very well. They run this ball effectively. But ultimately, I'm going to go with Bowling Green here, and here's why. They've won 3 straight games by double digits, including a massive road win over Toledo, beating the Rockets by 15, again, on the road. They're averaging over 150 rushing yards per game, led by Terrion Stewart, and I think they're going to exploit this Western Michigan run defense that gives up over 182 rushing yards per game. You've got a veteran quarterback in Carnaby St and one of the best tight ends in the country that no one's talking about, and Harold Fannin Jr., who has over 1,000 reception yards on the year. That dynamic duo, plus the running game to complement it, plus a horrible Western Michigan defense, plus home field advantage. Bowling Green was my preseason pick to at least make the MAC championship game. We did have the Falcons in the championship. I'm going to hold true to that. Give me the Falcons to win on Tuesday night. We'll be keeping up with that live with you on our Tuesday night live stream. How about number 3, Texas at Arkansas? Look, I know this one feels like a no-brainer, but this is a historic game for a lot of different reasons. I mean, first off, it's one of the more underrated rivalries in college football. And I think people forget that this is a rivalry game because this is the first time that Arkansas and Texas have met as conference opponents since 1991. Used to be the old Southwest Conference days. These were the top dogs in the Southwest Conference, and Arkansas jumped ships, goes to the SEC. They played very few times, sparingly, in that span from 1991 to now. But they did meet back in 2021 in Fayetteville, when Arkansas just annihilated Texas, had over 300 rushing yards on the day. But now I expect it to be the other way around. Expect Texas to annihilate Arkansas and Fayetteville this time. Quinn Ewers is, of course, one of the best quarterbacks in the country. He's leading a passing attack that averages over 300 passing yards per game. Fully expect him to torch an Arkansas secondary that's one of the worst in the nation, giving up over 260 passing yards per game, ranks 125th in the nation, and just allowed 562 passing yards to Ole Miss the last time they played. The Hogs, yes, are coming off a bye week. Yes, they're going to be well-rested and excited and pumped, looking to completely shake off the SEC title race and the college football playoff race, play spoiler to their bitter rival. But the Hogs don't have much of a home field advantage. They have lost their last 2 home games to LSU and Ole Miss by a combined score of 97-41. They've laid massive eggs in front of their home crowds. It's an 11 a.m. game. Are the fans really going to show up for this one? Are they going to be pumped for this one? My gut says no. And while the Hogs' offense has been solid, 5th in the nation, averaging nearly 500 yards per game, Texas has the number 2 overall defense and the number 1 defense versus the pass. They will wreak havoc on this Arkansas offensive line. They will force turnovers off of Taylor Green if he is fully healthy. Arkansas loses big to the Longhorns as they continue to roll towards another playoff appearance and maybe a national title. But still, a fun game because of the rivalry renewed and the conference, the first conference meeting in, over 30 years. It's going to be pretty interesting. All right, Tulane, Navy. By the way, these rankings up here are based on our GE Top 25 poll, right? Not the AP poll, not the College Football Playoff poll. These rankings you see are based on what we have ranked in our GE Top 25. If you haven't seen those, go check that out. We just posted the video yesterday. But this game between Tulane and Navy is massive for the American Athletic Conference because we all know about Army. Army's the team to beat, right? They're 9-0, 7-0, undefeated in conference play. But Tulane is also undefeated in conference play. They are 8-2, 6-0 in conference play. Navy, 7-2, 5-1 in conference play. So the hopes of seeing an Army-Navy American championship is still very much alive. It's very much alive if Navy can win this game, but they're not going to. They're not going to. Tulane is the real deal, right? The Green Wave are 16th in the nation on defense. They are 27th in the nation against the run. That's the important stat, right? Tulane only giving up 115 rushing yards per game. We know that's important because Navy wants to run the football. They're averaging over 259 rushing yards per game. So we know they're good at running the ball. We know that's how they dominate. We know that's how Army dominates. How's Tulane doing against the run? They're doing pretty good so far this season. You take a look at Tulane as well. Their defense, nothing to be upset about either. They are 10th in the nation. They are really good at running the ball. We'll talk about their defense in a second. But really good at running the ball. 10th in the nation, averaging over 227 rushing yards per game. Navy giving up 158 rushing yards per game. Mekhi Hughes has been phenomenal for John Summerall's squad, over 1,200 yards and 13 touchdowns. Darian Mensah has been phenomenal at quarterback, over 2,000 yards and 16 touchdowns. That dangerous duo there is what's going to ultimately lead Tulane to this victory. They've won 7 straight games so far this year. They continue to roll, make it 8. Tulane remains undefeated in conference play. Navy pretty much going to be eliminated from conference title contention, and we get one step closer, really, to seeing an Army and Tulane American championship game, one that could be one of the best of conference championship weekend if it holds. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch. Missouri. And number 23, South Carolina. I think this is a very interesting game here. I'm not sold on Missouri, right? I know they're 7-2, but their 2 losses have been in blowout fashions, 30-plus points to Texas A&M and Alabama. Their best wins are arguably, Boston College, an overtime win against Vanderbilt, who's not a bad team at all, but still, really don't have any quality wins on their resume. They also just needed this miracle win against Oklahoma. One of the wildest final 3 minutes I've seen in a long, long time. Missouri coming out victorious, but again, needed a lot of luck to pull that one off. South Carolina, meanwhile, is playing really, really inspired football. Good inspired football. They crushed Texas A&M to give the Aggies their first conference loss of the year, and then followed that up by going to Vanderbilt and defeating them by 21 points on the road. They've won 3 straight games. They have 3 losses, but 2 of those losses to Alabama and LSU have come by a combined 5 points. And simply put, again, I'm just not buying Missouri. I'm not buying them. 7-2 is a good record. I'm not buying what Eli Drinkwitz is selling. He said their playoff hopes are still alive. They were never there to exist with anyway. When they lost to A&M by 30-plus points, they were gone. If they even thought they had a chance, they were definitely gone when they lost by 34 to Alabama. There's no playoff in the cards at all for Missouri, and there definitely won't be when South Carolina wins this game. The Gamecocks are playing fantastic football right now. Fantastic football. The offense has been rolling. 28 points at least. Scored at least 28 points in each of their last 3 games. Lenora Sellers has been playing lights-out football. 657 yards, 5 touchdowns, 0 interceptions in those 3 games. Rocket Sanders, the transfer from Arkansas, has 270 rushing yards and 4 touchdowns in his last 2 games. While Missouri's defense is pretty solid, 10th overall in the nation, I don't think it's going to be enough to slow down this team, and I definitely don't believe Missouri's going to be able to have the offensive firepower to keep up if they're not fully healthy, meaning they've got to go with Drew Pine again instead of Brady Cook. Still up in the air, but even if they do go with Pine, even if they do go with Cook, the running game is something they're going to want to lean on, and it's not going to go well against a South Carolina rushing defense that has been very, very good, only allowing 107.2 rushing yards per game. Factor in Columbia, a very difficult, underrated place to play in the SEC. Shane Beamer's squad wins their 4th straight game, and they take down Missouri and end the fake college football playoff hopes that Eli Drinkwitz has painted for his team and his fan base. Arizona State at number 20, Kansas State. This is a big game in the Big 12. Who would have thought that, right? Both these teams sitting at 7-2, both teams 4-2 in conference play. So the winner of this game keeps their conference title hopes alive. The loser is completely out of it. And again, even the winner of this still has asked for some help. BYU's on top. Colorado controls their own destiny. Even though Kansas State owns the head-to-head over Colorado, The Kansas State Wildcats have 2 losses. Colorado does not, at least in conference play. So a very, very interesting game here for these 2 programs. And I'll tell you this, Arizona State has been fun to watch this year. I completely missed the mark on the Sun Devils. I did not expect them to be this good this year. I will own up to that. They've been a very fun surprise in the Big 12, their first year in the conference. They've won 4 of the last 5 games so far this season. They've done so with a pretty balanced offense, especially with the running game, though, averaging 198 rushing yards per game behind Cam Scatteraboo, who has over 1,000 yards on the year, though he's got to be healthy going into this game. That's going to be key. Sam Levitt, though, is playing really good ball, averaging, over 14 touchdowns on the year, 4 interceptions, takes great care of the football. But we know Arizona State wants to run the ball. That's how they've been winning these games. They're going up against a Kansas State defense that's giving up just 99.4 rushing yards per game, has the 8th ranked rushing defense in the country, and the Wildcats coming off a bye coming into this game. Arizona State, a very hard-fought victory just last week. Kansas State, well-rested, maybe a little angry after coughing up the game to Houston. A game they should have won, but did everything in their power to lose. The Wildcats also know how to run the ball. They're a little bit more balanced than Arizona State offensively. 208 rushing yards per game compared to 214 passing yards per game. They've got DJ Giddens, who's going to crack the 1,000-yard mark in this game, has 995 rushing yards on the year. You got Avery Johnson, their quarterback, who has over 390 rushing yards. Dylan Edwards has over 340 rushing yards. So 3 players with well over 300 rushing yards on the year. A mobile quarterback as well, the RPO style, very difficult to stop. Kansas State in Manhattan, a very, very underrated place to play. And bottom line, guys, is as fun as Arizona State has been to watch and as solid as their rushing defense has been, it hasn't been as great as they want it to be. You look at the numbers here. They allowed 177 rushing yards to UCF. They allowed 191 to Cincinnati, 140 to Utah, 151 to Kansas. Kansas State can match Arizona State offensively. They have the better defense in this game. They have the better coach in this game in Chris Kleiman, and they have home field advantage. I truly believe Kansas State wins this game, maybe not by a large margin, but they get the job done to get to 8-2 and keep their Big 12 title hopes alive. The Wildcats were my pick to win the Big 12 back in the preseason. That may not hold true if Colorado wins out, but they at least hold on to that sliver of hope. I hold on to that small sliver of hope of getting that pick right with Kansas State's win over Arizona State on Saturday night. So guys, there you have it. 5 big underrated games. We're going to be talking about more over the rest of this week, namely Georgia and Tennessee. Definitely don't miss out on that prediction video, but these games are going to play massive roles. Maybe not on the playoff race like Western Michigan and Bowling Green. Still going to be a quality midweek game to watch, but all of these games have some semblance of importance on the college football landscape. All of them are a reason to watch them. All of them are a reason to continue to watch us here at the Gridiron Experts. We break down all of these top games for you each and every week. So continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos. Check out everything down in the description below. That includes our expert picks and all of our exclusive offers over on thegridironexpert.com. Again, the link for that down in the description below. And once again, as always, thank you so much for watching. And we'll see you next time right here on The Gridiron Expert.